you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
Long time no see, amigo. You doing all right, Mike?
Yeah. Whole week. Yep. Everything's good. It's Friday. It's always good on Friday.
Well, in Pinozo's world, it's 5 o'clock all day, every day, 24/7.
You have to hustle this up. It's
It's
already 5 o'clock at the East Coast.
Well, for this show, Mike, I might need you to open the cocktail book, whip yourself up a little something, and you really got to let loose on this one because I think I'm ready to go off a little bit here. Maybe not this show, maybe the next show. We'll see. You doing all right otherwise, man?
Yeah, everything's good. Been keeping an eye on what's going on in Vietnam. Really been a pretty good event, pretty entertaining. Good atmosphere, good setup, looked like. Huge, vocal crowds there, and then obviously online whenever Huang played. Those are some big numbers.
Let's talk about it, man, because we saw yesterday following the filler match, which was a wild ending. If you guys missed it, go check it out. Filler versus Wong, they were promoting the fact they had gotten over 200,000 live views on there, I think through their YouTube and whatever else. And then, which, I've seen before, like on live on TikToks and things like that, but to have it during like that type of regional, like especially in that spot in the tournament, I know it was against Josh, but huge numbers, 200,000 ish. And those are just unofficial. And then you look at the post from today mentioning 400,000 viewers during the Huang and Yap match, Mike. And talk to me about that for a little bit and just what that could do for pool. Have we ever seen numbers like that in all the years you cover in the game? And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, Vietnam is this burgeoning, pool community for one. And for two, Duong's got huge following. I mean, the guy can't say 3 words of English. He just looks around and smiles. He looks like he doesn't say 3 words a week. But he's got an enormous following over there, and that's where those numbers came from. I mean, I don't know what the numbers were for, Shane against Yap, but I don't think that they were in that, high 6 digits area. I mean, and Duong went into a shootout with Yap where he lost. If he'd have won and played Shane, it would have been through the roof.
And he probably he should have been if he ends up facing Shane, which I know he didn't, but he probably would have been at least even money against him because he's had Shane's number quite a bit over the last couple of years as well, like beating him outright in tournaments.
Would have been a massive following. And my comment to someone after that match was that based on his last 2 matches, I would say he's a pretty strong candidate for the Reyes Cup.
It's funny. It's funny you should bring that up, Mike. Wait, are you talking about Huang or are we talking about Shane here?
Talking about Huang.
Oh yeah. If he wasn't announced for Reyes Cup before, which I know only Carlos been formally announced.
Because
it's a wrap, Mike. I'm sorry. Anybody else from Vietnam who had their hopes of making their
it's a wrap. I think they'd be foolish not to have him on the team. Because obviously we talked about this before, the way they kind of reset the way Team Asia and Team Rest of the World was being selected this year. It became obvious it was more of a we're handpicking the value, right? For impact. So you're going to have a couple of Filipinos. Makes sense. You're going to have Duong on there. Makes 100% sense. So that's just, all you had to do is look at those numbers for the last couple of days. And even though there was it was not a matchroom tournament, they're watching the metrics on this and saying, that's why we picked them last year, and it'll be even stronger.
Might be busy, Mike. They got a lot on their plate. They got Hanoi coming up. They got Netflix to talk about.
They know that Duong moved the needle.
They were also pulled some shocking news this week from Matchroom side announcing Carlo and Federer for the Reyes Cup, which nobody saw that coming for the last 3 months. So they were making waves there.
they earned it because they were given that spot to the highest ranked, rest of the world and highest ranked Asian players. So it
Yeah.
just so happened those were already locked in at the time of the announcement. So, but either way, you don't blame, no matter how they got in, one team needed better and one team needed Seattle. That no one's even going to argue with that, and no one's going to argue with Wong being on there as well. Nobody
No,
should.
and well, I mean, look, we had that discussion last year whenever, I think we both came to the agreement that they were probably going to have Huang on that team, and it's because of the upside in terms of the market and what that can do for the
Yes, of
overall
course.
product, and so I think they're and you've seen them kind of like, not kind of like, you've seen them like put more of a value on what your social media metrics are versus anything else. I mean, look at AJ, and I will always go back to that until the kid starts winning anything, and I know he's got a lot of upside, and he's the next second coming of effort and all these things, but he really hasn't done a whole lot other than pump up his social media numbers, and he gets a spot on PLP, and so um, I think like those are where, and when you move the needle to that degree, especially given how tough it is to get like really fans engaged, truly engaged into watching that type of tournament in that spot of the tournament, it's like who knows what it could be for that Reyes Cup type atmosphere. I think he's a lock to be on that team. I thought at a minimum somebody from Vietnam was a lock. After seeing those numbers from Huang, though, I mean it's a no brainer at this point, Mike.
Yeah, it is. It is a no-brainer. And what would you think? What would you think the over/under is that he gets announced during Hanoi?
If I was a betting man, I would say, from a money line standpoint, you're probably looking at minus 500, minus 5,000. You know what I mean? I mean,
Well, no, and that would make sense too. That's smart. That would be a smart play, don't you think?
100%. Yeah, I mean, during that time, sure, and they need to have like, well, here's what I'll say. Like, I think everybody already sees it coming, so it's a little anticlimactic at this point. I think what happened the past couple of days just further just signed, sealed, and delivered his chances on making that, especially the way that they pump it up.
Yeah, but
Oh yeah,
you still make as big a splash as you
yeah.
can. You get all his people all racked up and riled up. Great. I hope he does. I hope he goes deep in the tournament in Hanoi. Be great.
I said pre.
He's fun to watch for one. He's a good kid for
Yeah.
two. And the numbers are the numbers. I mean, have at it.
No, I mean he plays good and he's got legitimate shot at winning tournaments. I think the last one he won was like the Scottish Open or something against Oscar last year. But he's had signature wins. He's had big moves in tournaments. I think his all around game is very well. And for me, and I said this up until the last match, actually in the Reyes Cup last year, I thought he was the MVP of that team on a stacked Asian team last year. I thought he came with some massive cold-blooded shots throughout that whole tournament. That was just, I don't want to say surprising because I will to some extent I will because I think he's got a little bit of rattle in him.
Yeah,
But and you kind of
he definitely looked like.
you kind of saw that in the Josh match too,
Good.
Mike. Like when him scooping that two ball when Josh should have closed it out. Like I thought in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I've seen that story from Wong before. That sucks because I want him to keep on going. Now it ended up just working out to the drama perfectly. You know what I mean? But in the moment, I'm like, oh man, I can't believe he shit the bed on that two ball. And so
Well, even in the Yep match that he lost, the last set he was up 2-0 and should have been up 3, and completely botched a run out. It was really pretty easy to go up 3-0 in that set. Yeah, we could see it. You could see him. He was a little shaky last year at Reyes. It was a big stage for him, language barrier, all that stuff. But once he got comfortable and once he started to get that smile on his face, it was a whole different story. I mean, he gets around the table pretty good.
he looks on that team like I do when I'm in Asia, where I'm just kind of like looking around and I'm just smiling and I ain't got a fucking clue what anybody's saying, and I'm just okay, yeah, sure. But when you speak pull language, you know what I mean? Point here, okay, that's where you want the ball. Okay,
Yeah.
good, I understand that part. Um, on the note of Feller, before we keep on going down this little rabbit hole here, you think he kind of dogged a little bit, didn't he? Against, I mean, a lot of it.
Yeah, he sure. Well, he did. He missed the last 9 that he missed when he should have been out. Um, you know, we've seen all the top players make that mistake on these tables in these tournaments where they get straight where they didn't want to, and now they got to
Force it.
muscle the
Yeah.
ball, and these pockets spit them out pretty easily unless you hit it pure. And he obviously didn't hit it pure. Now, did he have a little rattle to him? Probably. But listen, if he gets a little angle on that 9, he's pretty much out of that rack. He ended up in a bad spot.
It was a nice out to his credit until that 9 ball. I mean, he handled like the business part of that out to perfection, and like we expect.
Good.
And like I mentioned this to a friend of mine, I said, man, I tuned into Huang scooping the 2 ball. And then I saw the score line, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, Josh is gonna win because he's got ball in hand with one rack to go. And when I came back like 30 minutes or so later, I was like, what the fuck just happened here? Why is Huang about to send Filler home? But that's part of like the brutal and the beauty of what is that Pro Beard Series format, where like the pool gods can giveth and the pool gods can taketh. And look, I haven't watched.
It can happen real quickly.
It shifts, yes.
It can happen really quick. You're never more than 3 racks down, ever.
Yeah,
right.
I like that from a sports standpoint and from a fan standpoint, because I've seen too many times, and this is like personal experience, where like I've legitimately checked out of a match when it gets to a certain point. Now I don't know what that threshold is, Mike, because a lot of variables there, the race, the players, blah blah blah. But like having those short races to 4 and it being in sets keeps me engaged from the beginning and throughout, because it can be so volatile, and so now for a world championship, different conversation, but I've been enjoying it. You get the drama with it for sure. And it's even better when you have a deeper field, right? When you have the Shanes and the Coes and the Carlos and all those players, so
when you start getting into the 5 sets, then it gets to really interesting to me. And so I like that. And I've said, we've talked about this many times too, and I've talked about it with the World 9-Ball Tour and with pulling. I like to have some differences in the big events. I like clay, I like grass, I like hard court. When it comes to tennis, I like those differences. Some people favor some over the other. Some people think some are tougher than the other. It doesn't matter. I like that there's a different format in a world championship. And we can argue till we're blue in the face about whether it lends to more upsets or whatever. And we've seen plenty of them here. I mean, Federer went out 2 straight, and he's not losing 2 straight to those 2 guys into too many tournaments that are races to 11. So, but
I mean,
it is what it is.
I think more often than not, you're going to see him get the better of it in traditional races, but like they weren't like shortstops who he was playing. I mean, Jonas had a pretty solid year. And then
Jonas for sure. And the second, tell me who he lost the second match.
Magdampe, Jonas, whatever. He's a seasoned Filipino. Like he hasn't been able to travel outside of that region enough, but the guy's well known there. Federer knew who he was as well, and that's part of. Listen, welcome to Asia, right? I mean, this is what you get.
Right.
But look, I don't know if the Filipino got in on qualifier or not, but that would be an even cooler part. But the Federer thing is interesting. We've also seen him snap off these events, so we know the cream can rise to the top. And when it comes to this, comes to the World 10-Ball Championship, like we're seeing right now, I mean, look, you had a pretty stout Final 16. You got a pretty stout Final 4, Mike. When you got Koping Chung facing Carlo Beato, SVB versus Kazakis. Which one of those storylines and why are you looking at more during those 4 or weighing out?
Well, it's hard. Obviously, I'm watching Shane because I'd love to see Shane win the World 10-Ball. That's his game, and he's got the World 8-Ball and the World 9-Ball. No one has won all 3.
No career Grand Slam.
Fran's come close. Beato's come close. Beato has 2. A couple of them have, 3 or 4 guys have 2 of the 3. No one's got all 3. I'd love to see Shane win it. On the other side, little Co, against Beato. Both have won the World 10 ball.
Defending champion.
Beato's, Beato's current World 9 ball champ. And defending champ. So, it's that's a marquee matchup there. The easy thing to do is to shortchange Alex, and people probably did that in the World Pool Masters a few years ago when he shut Shane out 9-0. So
I gave that motherfucker like 3 games on the wire.
And Alex, Alex quarterfinal match took him 5 sets, but the 3 sets he won 4-zip. So Alex, we all know Alex is a really good player. He's just not a proven, multiple time champion or world champion or any of the big matchroom events, things like that. But he's, he's going to end up with someone like that kind of in your mind, second tier to the top type of player, make the Final Four. That happens a lot.
I'll tell you what, that's a dangerous
pretty normal.
It's a dangerous matchup, Mike. That SVB one versus Kazakis. And look, I'm good friends with Shane.
Well, it's dangerous because it's Grace of the floor.
Well, sure, but giving Alex more respect in his own right. You mentioned the World Pool Masters title. Everyone remembers the bang shot that David did on him, but not too many remember him beating Shane in that finals. I think it was a couple years later, 9-0 or whatever it was, or 11-0. So it's like he's more than capable. He becomes like he's not a tier 1 player in my opinion, but he's right there, right next to it. And so and he's a guy where he can certainly, he's got the skill set to snap off a major. We just haven't seen him put it all together in a little bit of time, but we know what his game's like. And it's interesting in the sense of like, I feel like Alex is a new father now, maybe less pressure there, maybe more pressure there, depending on how you look at it. Where, Shane's not the same, mid-30s player he was when he played Alex a few years ago either, so like there's some angle there on both sides.
Seems to be pretty happy with his game right now, playing out there. He's he sounds confident in the way he's playing. I know this is one that he really wants. So
he does.
He's not going to be sleepwalking through this. That's for sure. Should be some good semifinals. It's interesting, what they've done these last couple of days is, 1 match a day when they go to races to 5, which or best of 5, which is smart because, you get a 5-setter in these, it's 4+ hours. That'll take a lot out of these guys. So I'm glad they're not stacking them up through a day. It's hard for the players, from a cost standpoint. I don't know how many players, once they're out of the tournament, are sticking around to watch 3 more days of pool. But I'm glad that they're doing 1 match tomorrow and then coming in on Sunday for the final.
I like that too. I didn't know that until earlier today, which looking at it's always great because they should have their own stage. And you're right, the 5-set aspect is a major part in weighing that out for sure. I think like either way, me, man. World Championships are real special. I really appreciate them. I got a lot of respect for them. I think it's a very it's special for the players to have that attached to them, and even if it's not like when you're, insert trash quarterback and you make it on a Super Bowl team, you know what I mean? It's like you this is a 1-man sport. You got to earn your way. A guy like Wojciech comes to mind where he's got this like blue collar type attitude. And, but it's a special time. I think either way you look at it, there's going to be a story to pay attention to. The SVB one's real interesting, Mike. No American having won all 3, no player in history having won all 3, getting a career Grand Slam as well. I know we saw Frank close to getting that a couple of years ago, which we were all
really close.
Yeah, in the finals of the last one too. But let me ask you this, Mike, because on that note, times kind of come around full circle. And we hadn't seen that up until Fran did it a few years ago. Well, and I'm not trying to jinx Carlo. I'm not trying to jinx the event, nothing. But if Carlo were to win, Carlo would be this year's World 9-ball champion. He would be this year's World 10-ball champion. But he's not playing in the World 8-ball, which is happening in another week after.
Did you go there?
I'm going there, Mike. I'm going there.
Are you going there?
Let me ask you this: if Carlo were to win, is he playing in Hanoi versus playing in the World 8-ball championship?
yeah, I think he's committed to Hanoi because of the Reyes Cup. I don't think he's got much of a choice. Which is a shame.
What do you mean by that, Mike? What do you mean?
Because he's already made the team, right? He's already been announced.
He's already been
on
announced.
The team.
Yes.
He's already been announced. But did he already get announced because he committed to playing in Hanoi? So
we know we've heard you have to play in Hanoi in order to play in Reyes Cup, right? That's not official, right? We haven't heard that from Matchroom side, but we've heard that from many players saying that you have to play Hanoi if you want to play in the Reyes Cup.
Yeah. So he's on the team. If I were him, and if he wins this, if he doesn't win this, it's moot.
Yeah.
If he wins this, would I get on the phone and ask if there's a workaround? % I would. I don't know what Matchroom would say. I don't know what they should say, to be honest with you. But I think it's a question that he would be dumb not to ask. I think the fans would want it. I don't think any player would begrudge him being able to play both sides to the middle.
There's no,
in this case.
There's no both sides here. There's no. It's not even.
No. The both sides would be skipping Hanoi and still playing in Reyes.
Oh yeah, but that
would be Carlo getting both sides, where somebody else might not get that consideration. Okay, but I don't think anybody would say, "Well, wait a second, I had to play in this," and like a Fran or someone like that. It would be a different argument to me. So if Carlo won this and he was the reigning world 9-ball, reigning world 10-ball, and had a shot to win the world 8-ball in the same year, I think he should ask.
I don't even think he should. I don't even think he should ask. Man, you better go play the world 8-ball, Mike. If you got a chance to go after history, which you listen, Carlo has been a tier 1 player for a long time. Ask him how long it's taken for him to even, and I know he's not even in that position yet. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here. But if he were to win, he's waited his whole career.
Yeah.
That it's like,
listen, I've interviewed Carlo a couple times about getting into the Hall of Fame. And both times he has said, he still, he never really thought about the Hall of Fame much. He thinks he's too young, all that stuff. But he said multiple times, I play this game to win world championships. Those exact words. He didn't say to win titles. He said to win world championships. So yeah, if he wins on Sunday, if he wins tomorrow and then wins again on Sunday and wins the world 10-ball, he is going to have a rough night's sleep.
Have a great night's sleep.
Trying to figure out what to do.
It's such an easy decision. Number one, this is what I would do. I would, if you're gonna play that game behind the curtain, okay, with them, I would say I would play that game in front of the curtain with them the same way back, And so, who is steady and ready? What are they talking about, Mike? Someone's going off about something.
Don't get off track. Come on, stick with it.
I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought already. No, look. I don't know what the hell I was saying. Look, Carlo. If Carlo was told that, saying you have to play Hanoi in order to play in Reyes, right? Unofficially by Matchroom, I'm saying, well, you know what? I got a chance at history. I'm going to go after it, and you guys do whatever you got to do, And they've already announced them for the world teams, right? On the Asian team, I should say, right? So he's the reigning world 9-ball champion, which is their crown jewel, right? So and he's Filipino, right? Playing in Manila, there's no way they keep him off. He has to go after history. I'm not even asking you. You ain't paying Carlo a salary. You got to go after and go after history, Mike. You'll never, ever, 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 ever get a chance at that in your career ever again. If he were to win the World 10-ball championship.
I don't disagree at all. And I would go further and say, if I'm Matchroom and I see that, I would get ahead of it and I would encourage him to do it. And I would play up that he's going after this. Now, it's a tough situation to be in because in the Matchroom world, The World 8 Ball and the World 10 Ball
Irrelevant.
championships don't even
They're
exist.
irrelevant, Mike. We've seen that. They're irrelevant, right?
I kind of get that. I mean, if this is what you bought into, if this is what you're selling, then I get you want to stay in that mindset. But this would be such a special circumstance, unique to anything else in the sport, that I would think you would have to play ball if you don't want to look like complete jerks. You know, I mean, that's kind of the way you'd have to kind of look at it, right?
Well, I don't think they're afraid of being the heel, Mike. And I think that history.
No, but you know, listen. This through last year, the thing with Josh and that there was you know, some animosity there. There was some edginess there. There was Carlo is well, but this is totally different with Carlo. They love Carlo. Carlo loves, you know, Mantrum and loves WNT and all that stuff. So this is a situation where you could, to me, very easily get away with it, and everybody comes out looking good. Now, again, we're getting way the hell ahead of ourselves because he's got to win 2 matches to even get in the conversation. But, you know, it's still only 2 matches away, and it's Carlo Beato. So it's not a far-fetched idea.
Look, it's Carlo Beato. He may not even get past Ko Ping Chung, because that's a tough fucking matchup against a guy who's also won the World 10 Ball Championship as well, beating Josh in the finals in Vegas all those years ago.
Is Ko Ping Chung signed up for Hanoi?
I'd imagine.
Or is he signed up for the World?
That I don't know. That I do not know. And this is where, like, while I can understand why you've played it to this point, we're only about 9 ball WNT, 9 ball this, 9 ball that. Look, you'll come out looking way worse if you were to make Carlo go play in Hanoi in order to get on Reyes versus playing in the World 8 Ball Championship. And I know that, again, nothing's been said officially from them. I believe that Carlo was told that, which is why he's playing in Hanoi versus playing in the World 8 Ball currently. But either way, Mike, I think it's gonna really be interesting to see how tomorrow plays out, because there's gonna be something to look at no matter what. You know, the SVB part's a whole other side of it as well. You know, the guy going after a chance for a career Grand Slam. You know, still in last year in the finals of the U.S. Open. This year, you know, in the semifinals of the World 10 Ball Championship, wins a World 8 Ball a couple years ago as well. Like, he's not supposed to be doing this at this point of his career, and here he is. He still has his foot on the gas.
Amazing. Yeah, he just never ceases to amaze.
Yeah.
So why are you saying he's over the hill all the time? That's what Steady and Ready was.
When did I say Shane was over the hill? I don't think I've ever. I try to stay away from washed up, because that, you know, I know not to use not Shane, not to anybody for that matter. But there are certain things that I know better than to stay away from. But no, look, I think with Shane's only got the potential for what Shane wants to do, and here Shane wants to play for a world championship. I might have lost you, Mike. Hang on a second. Can you hear me?
No, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. My daughter was with me. But like, these type of runs really make it cool, and I think, like, when Shane plays more free without shit hanging over his head, that's when a guy like Shane can be real dangerous, and that's really when he has this, like Carlo. Shane wants to win world championships. I mean, he wants a 6 U.S. Open too. Don't get me wrong, but Shane wants to win a world championship. You know, he wants to win.
And he wants to win this one. This one would make career, and that would be huge.
Well, the thing is, he played that like, I'm going to be the 9 ball cheerleader for a long time, but everybody always knew better when it comes to Shane. You know, and he, at this point of his career,
well, Shane always said 8 ball was his favorite game, and that's why he wanted to win the world.
Well, but he also said it after he wins the World 8 Ball Championship too. You know, like, he was still carrying the pom poms for a while, and I get why. You know what I mean? Like, I understand why he did it. I'm not hating on him for it. But this part is great because he's already said, hey, listen, whatever's going to happen on the matchroom side will be, I'm going to play for world championships. And now he's going out there. He's embracing it to the fullest. I'm not so sure that I would have bet on Shane even playing in this race to 4 format a year and a half ago. Like if you were to say, hey, which side would your money be on, Mike? I might say he ain't going to be playing that, and what a difference that all this time has made, Mike.
Yes.
No
doubt. I was actually kind of surprised too that he was going after this, given the format, because he's been a very, very much on record as saying he doesn't like this format, doesn't want to play in it, and hasn't in a few times. So.
No, but I think look, whenever I talk with Shane, I saw Shane. I remember we were in Casper, Wyoming, right, at Mint Billiards, and we were doing an event. We were getting something to eat or whatever it was, and we were talking. And this is like before, like this was a off the record talk as far as, and we knew kind of some stuff that was coming up in the horizon between WPA and Matchroom. But Shane straight up told me then, he's like, look, I want to win world championships. I'm not gonna go through all this again. I don't want to be a part of the BS. I want to win world championships. I mean, he wants to win a 6 US Open, but the world championship is up there. I think he's given a lot more attention to the things that are missing on that mantle, and World 10 Ball being one of them. And so for him to have a chance to go after it, and listen, love Alex, good story, great to root for, real nice guy. Shane's a massive favorite in that match, Mike. And
no doubt about
it. And so hopefully Alex makes it a great match, and he's more than capable. But Shane's got a decent side of the draw. So if you were to get past it, and then I don't care who you put on the other side, put Little Co or put Carlo. Now I'm rooting for Carlo to get in the finals. But if whoever it is, as long as SVB gets in there, you're going to have a lot of fucking people watching, Mike. A lot of people watching this. And then it kind of leads me to what we expect to be when it comes to the rest of the world teams. The rest of the world announcement. Because, listen, we know what angle Matchroom can play when it comes to that Carlo Beato situation. But there's going to be a whole other situation with an American making the rest of the world team. And I don't think it'll be SVB. And so if he were to win the World 10 Ball, do you think that helps his chances any on making that team at all?
No.
None. If you're that matter of fact, then that's about the same answer I would expect from Matchroom if Carlo goes and asks if he can play in the World 8 Ball. That same type of response, Mike.
No, I think to me it's a little bit different. To me it is still a little bit different, because I think Shane is pretty much said, listen, however the cards fall, they fall. I'm playing World 10 Ball and I'm playing World 8 Ball. Yeah. I'm not playing Hanoi. I'm not playing Philippines. Okay. I don't think they've gotten that message from Carlo. I think Carlo wanted to play in the World 8 Ball.
Yeah.
Got convinced to play in Hanoi because he wants to be in Reyes Cup. It's important for him to be in the Philippines. All that stuff. I think Carlo is more playing ball than Shane is, and Shane's taking his ball and going. Which is fine. It doesn't mean Shane's never going to play in another Matchroom event. He's just saying, this with these conflicts here, these are the two I'm picking. I would expect Shane to come back next year and play in, whatever Matchroom events he wants. Certainly, U.S. Open, Florida, events like that. So, I don't think Shane's trying to burn bridges, but I think that the Carlo one's a little bit different in terms of, being mostly on the same page.
I agree with you. I think Shane did take his ball, and I don't think he's heading home just yet, but he's got his ball in his hand. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's not, and like I said, this one to me was not adversarial either. This one was more Shane saying, I want to play world championships, and that's what I'm going to go do. You guys do what you have to do. I'm not leaving you forever, but this is what I'm doing. Okay, that's your decision. So, yeah.
If Shane wins a world championship right now, in the next couple of days,
it's World 10 Ball.
Even listen, it's going to be.
It's the World 10 Ball.
It's going to be you've backed yourself into this corner that I don't think that it's just going to get a little awkward scene if you continue to back yourself into a corner. When it comes to certain decisions and leaving players off and trying to force storyline down people's throats and things like that, and I think like you can come out way the better of it the other way, because if you can celebrate the Carlo thing or celebrate the SVB thing, then it from a PR standpoint, it also looks a lot better. Does that make sense, Mike?
Uh, but we know they're not going to celebrate if Shane wins the World 10 ball. There's not going to be
Well,
a
I'm not expecting
matchroom
Emily to come out with a
promoted
fucking cake, but
celebration social.
yeah.
No, because 10 ball is not their thing. I mean, they pretty much neglected the fact that Kachi was a world champion before he won.
Kachi checked them
So
otherwise.
it just kind of yeah. So we understand that part of it. Like I said, that's a marketing thing. If you're all in on 9 ball, then yeah, I don't mind you acting like nothing else exists. So if Shane wins the World 10 ball, I don't see any celebration. If Carlo wins the World 10 ball and he has a chance to go for 3 in 1 year, then I think you have to give it a little different consideration. So there are different circumstances for different people. You can't be so hard lined, or you shouldn't, that you don't even give any consideration to other storylines. So we'll see what happens. I hope we don't see what happens, because I want to see Shane win the World 10 ball. But if Carlo wins it, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I think either way.
And Carlo may, who knows? Carlo may jump the gun and say, you know what, I'm playing Hanoi no matter what. And that would be the end of that.
Yeah, I mean, look, if it were to come from him, that'd be a whole different story for sure, but I do feel like no matter what, and I don't care even if he does.
You have to check and see if there's tears coming out of his eyes, or if there's.
I mean, listen, we've seen some of these numbers, excuse me, from social media, from viewership, and we know how important Vietnam is to like growing your overall brand. I get that, right? But like, if you were just to look at the financials, the part of history, you name it, Mike. I mean, it's not the same, and so which
Agreed.
just makes it even more silly and makes it even more obvious without coming out and saying it, that you're putting a gun to the guy's head, which that's the part that can be a little frustrating. But I want to touch base real quick with you, Mike, on the Philippines Open, because I saw the announcement about it. Actually, I saw a post about it, and it was regarding the prize fund of it, Mike. The prize fund and the format. Now, I know we've been really high on the Philippines finally getting a major. The idea of it being in a mall kind of reminds us of the way that we, other than being like surrounded by chickens flying around, playing in an old pool room, like when you think about Philippines pool, you think about people on the rafters and stands and just standing up and sweating it, and you can see it in your head how great it can be. And then you look at the prize fund, Mike, and you're talking 125,000 versus normally it's been around 200,000 for a match or major.
Yeah, all the opens have been 200,000, but they've also been 256 player fields.
This one is.
This is 128.
120.
This is 128.
$500 buy-in.
128.
And single elimination,
30,
Mike.
30,000 first prize elimination. Yeah. Yeah, surprised me too. And I who knows, what the circumstances are. So, I'm looking at it from, let me think about the logistics of this. They're playing big matches in a mall. They're playing all the other matches in a bowling center, right? Maybe given time, whatever, they couldn't do 256.
Yeah.
Because you would figure you could fill 256 with Filipino cab drivers.
Oh yeah.
Right. So there's got to be a reason that we're not thinking about it, or they haven't talked about it, whatever. And I think it could just be logistics. It could just be, listen, this is all we can do. We're already there for a week for the Reyes Cup. This is all we can squeeze into this remaining period of time before all these other events around the world are happening. So we're gonna make it 128, single elimination. That's really dicey. But again, I don't know what the logistics are that forced that to happen, because it couldn't just be like, we're just doing something different. We're doing 128. We're going to do single elimination. I mean, they're only one match away from when they go to single elimination, anyways, which is 64. So, the prize fund total disappointing. 30,000. So it's, again, you're not paying as deep as, you're still paying the same percentage of the field on 128 that you did on 260, 256. But so you've got that. Again, just a little bit low and a little bit gaffy with the single elimination. So, you look at it, it's a tough, I feel badly. I don't think Mantrum looks at this as the ideal tournament either, right? But this is what we're stuck with. But if you're a player who is trying to get into Mosconi Cup and you're going to play the Philippines Open to play ball, and you're skipping a 400,000 plus tournament in Qatar with $100,000 first prize to play single elimination 128 field for $30,000
in
top prize.
The Philippines, Mike. In the Philippines, I might add.
That's a rough road. So that's tough ass. I think of guys like Fran and guys like that. Man, that's taking one for the team. Okay, so I hope there's some reward for them at the end of that.
There better be.
Don't you think?
100%, Mike. I mean, look, it's. I don't want to it's the part where you dangle the carrot of you need to play this in order to go play that. That's the part that I take issue with. And so listen, if you were to ask players, would you rather go play best of 3 sets, right? Race to 4, or this single elimination $500 buy-in in the Philippines? It'd be close. It'd be real close. I'm telling you, Mike. That part is brutal, Mike. For getting anybody, and listen, I love it from the standpoint of being able to pump up that market and get us this fresh wave of young Filipino stars with big potential, right? But talking about playing that type of format in the Philippines and single elimination, who's going to spend that kind of money and think it's a good investment, Mike?
It's stuff.
Like
Interesting comment.
Yeah, from Dennis.
Interesting comment from Dennis Gray. You play both tournaments because there's a couple day difference. There must be a qualifying end of Qatar. Maybe Dennis can tell us. Are all these other players playing both? Fran, guys like that, are they playing both? Maybe Dennis knows. I don't know I haven't seen a list of players for the different events. So I knew there was some gap in between the two, but you're still having players in the Philippines playing.
Even if I had I would have to have other plans for it to make sense. Like, I'm going to go over there for seasoning, and I'm thinking of it like that as an investment. I'm going to hang out and just, cut my teeth out there in the pool rooms and just get sharp. I get that. Like that part, okay, I can buy into. But like I would be really shocked to see how many players willingly go over there and hop in that field knowing that it's a fraction of the price fund than what they're used to and single elimination. Now, me and you have said for a year now plus.
Then hop a 10-hour flight to Qatar to play in both.
Good luck. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty brutal, and the financials are a huge part of it, especially like in the season that is, and events getting announced late and all these things. You know what I mean? Like that seems like a tough ask, Mike. And so look, I love the idea of that event, of that region getting more stuff. We're seeing that with Vietnam. We're seeing that in Indonesia. We're seeing that now in the Philippines with the Reyes, and then now with this event. It's just you want and as pool fans, you want the best of both worlds, right? Like I want to see the biggest names go over there and lose to the unknowns, but the unknowns, it's a little expensive because $500 for the Philippines is a lot of money. And then for the known players, right? Do I want to go and do hotel, flight, food, right, for single elimination and then $500 buy-in? I don't think so, Mike. I don't see it.
Yeah.
You know, and go ahead.
Dennis is still on here. I want to ask him that, you know, who all got in directly into stage 2?
Stage 2 starts 28th
You
at
know, does
Qatar.
he know?
Qualifiers earlier.
Yeah, I knew there was a qualification stage the first days, which made it open. So I don't know how stage 2 was picked. I'm guessing Qatar is a WPA event, right? Or is it not?
No, Qatar is a WPA event. That's for sure.
Okay, so if the stage 2s likely didn't include a Fran,
Right.
like that, who,
Yeah.
you know, so again, just really kind of curious as to who's in, who's out, who would have to play stage 1. You know, I'm assuming Dennis is into stage 2 because he's a highly ranked
Should
WPA
be.
guy.
Yeah. He's number 2 WPA player.
Yeah. So he, you know, sounds like he's going to play both.
Yeah. I mean, look, the schedule, all these things are already great and brutal, like enough on their own. You know what I mean? Just I knew about the prize fund part of it, and I don't know where it got pointed out, the single elimination part. Somebody had messaged me or I saw it in a comment or something, but I was blown away, Mike. And like I was getting to a second ago, me and you have been saying we want different formats for different tournaments, you know, and maybe this is the start of that. But it's like maybe make the Florida Open where it's a little softer, you know, that right, not the Philippines. I mean, you might as well go spend some money and just like go put 500 on black. You know what I mean? You'll get better odds on it than you're going to go playing in the Philippines. You know, so Dennis says he's playing in it. Yeah, it's
he's playing both. Good. Ew.
yeah. I want to really be paying attention to those player fields for sure. I think the next couple of days are going to be great, and even I haven't watched a ton of all this stuff in Vietnam because of the time difference and dealing with these girls' birthdays and all these things. But like a little bit of stuff that I've been able to sweat, Mike, has been really cool to watch. You know, I love the inclusion. I love having these male and female events, seeing the fillers take down, you know, a major doubles event, because anything you do in Asia with doubles is going to be just brutal to fade. So congratulations to them. The women's event was about as stacked as you can ask for in the final 4, other than that Filipino girl who I had no idea who she was. But like Rubelin and Wei in a final of a major tournament is must see television all the time, you know?
Good, yeah.
So, and kudos to them.
But Rubelin coughed that one up.
Did she? I didn't get to see the final, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, she did. She had that the third set in her hands and really made a couple really bad shots. But anyways, we were talking about Little Co before. If he wins, the Co's are playing in Hanoi.
They're playing in Hanoi?
They're not playing World 8 Ball.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, see, this is where like both of them are going to be in the conversation of the Reyes Cup, right? I think Copenhagen sits higher on Matchroom rankings, you know. But like we don't have that same story. At least for me, I don't have that same storyline thinking about them as I do like chopping up the Carlo one.
Yeah, no,
you know I mean?
not at all. Not
yeah.
at all. I was pointed out as a point.
Yeah. I mean, I think the next few days are going to be great. Then you follow that up with Hanoi. Then you follow that up with whatever it is, Reyes Cup and everything else. Oh, Indonesia, right? At the same time. So it's like you're going to have a ton of pull to be able to watch for the next however many weeks, man. It doesn't do me any favors for my sleep schedule, though, Mike. I got to admit. So,
you're young. You don't sleep.
Listen, give me a prediction, Mike. Who do you got winning? Give me the final and give me the winner of the World 10 Ball Championship.
I have Shane against Little Co and Shane.
Okay.
Which I'm sure comes as a total shock.
I mean, you never pick SVB when we do these prediction shows, so I'm shocked. Look, I hope it's going to be SVB versus Carlo Biato in the finals. That to me is the most like. Yeah, even if you it's real juicy. Yeah, even if you take out like the ripple down effect and what could be for this next couple of months and this drama, whatever else, like just thinking about Shane Van Boening versus Carlo Biato World 10 Ball Championship final is just epic in its own right, you know? And so, and even Ko Ping Chung for that matter, you know? Now, again, I'm not trying to shit on Alex, but like,
how is Shane and Carlo ever played in a big final?
ooh, that's a good question.
The ones that Carlo has won and the big ones that Shane has won, I don't think
so.
I can't think of them ever facing each other.
No,
in the finals
not
of a Matchroom or an international major or any of those. Don't think so.
If they have, it's been some time. That's for sure. Because like in this, I know it ain't been in the last 5 to 7 years. That's for sure. You know that I can think of, just kind of like reflecting in my head a little bit. But
those have been Carlos gravy years. So,
yeah, I mean, look, this is where I love it becoming so global, because you get all these, like, you get to really see what they all saw over there for so long, you know? And then it further makes me appreciate like a Shane's type greatness, like thinking even more on what he's done lately, you know? And then like if Alex were to do it, then what that would be like, fade the tournament like that, you know? But it's, and even Koping Chung for that matter, Mike.
Well, look at Carlo and Shane are both over 40. Freaking unbelievable.
In a really young game.
Still doing this. And these guys are doing this on the regular. This isn't just some surprise appearance. I mean, Shane was final U.S. Open last year. He was, final event this year at Florida. He was semifinal. Carlo winning events. I mean, these guys are like at the very top of the top consistently at 40, which is ridiculous.
And anybody else who's had that kind of consistency, Mike, has been like Aloysius, Federer, and Filler. You know what I mean? Like, and those are all really young, like the next generation of like pinnacle type stars. And so, yeah, you can't help but just admire it and appreciate it. I think no matter what, at a minimum, I'll try to be awake to watch it. But I think no matter what, the fans are going to be in for a pretty great.
So the Carlo Little Co is tomorrow.
I think at 11 p.m. Central is what I think.
11 p.m. Central tonight?
I think so. Yeah. I believe so.
And then Shane and Alex would be 5 hours later.
Yeah, so roughly like 4 or 5 in the morning ish, something like that.
4 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, let me know how that
goes. Yeah, good luck with that, right? Well, hey, look, I believe that if Shane were to make it past Alex and he makes into a final, I think the final would be around 4 or 5 a.m. then on Sunday. So either way, we'll keep you posted. We'll have more like reaction and all that good stuff. And I'm glad we at least got to be able to do a show. I got to catch up with Vincent from the Pro Billiards Series earlier today. Mike will be posting that video on our YouTube channel as well. And we ask him about the Carlo situation as well. So that one's going to be a pretty interesting response. I think you guys will get a kick out of it. But anyhow, I got to run. Girls are off of school. Mike, I appreciate your time as always, my man. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, I got a glass in the freezer just waiting.
Hey, man, get the shaker ready, buddy. We'll post the cocktail on Facebook like old time's sake, man. All right. All right.
Yeah.
We'll see all you.